Hello everyone. Today is 11th of March 2024 and today I have a wonderful guest. This is Jemma. Some of you may know her as Mystic Jem Tarot on Instagram and on Facebook and on different social media channels. And today we will have a lovely chat with her, and you can either watch it on my YouTube channel on Amethyst Astro Tarot, or you can hear it and listen to that on the Stars and Chronicles on Spotify, on any podcast. So, hello, Gemma, how are you?
Hi, I'm really, really well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm also good, also good.
Good.
So let's start. I mean, like we always do that you do the readings, etc. Wonderful, all different decks, and like we always feel that live and then wipe from your readings and etc.
Oh,
And really, I mean, like you are a very honest person. Also, we can see you just say what you need to say, and that's it. But who is Gemma? Can you tell us about yourself a bit more?
that's a big question. I don't know if this is going to be long enough to cover it, but I guess I tell you what, we'll start with the astrology. So I'm a Scorpio sun, I'm a Leo rising, and I'm a Libra moon. So the Leo rising is probably what you guys see on my Instagram, with maybe a little sprinkling of Libra moon and a little bit of Scorpio sun in there as well. But as a person, I just try to be very down to earth. I try to make tarot accessible. A lot of people find it quite intimidating, a little bit scary. So I try to make it fun. I try to make it light-hearted. I try to make it easy to understand. Um, and on a day-to-day basis, I'm just a normal person. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. I have a life outside of tarot, but tarot is a huge part of it. So it's something I really enjoy sharing. And thank you for those kind words. That's really sweet.
Yeah, so actually tarot is your, I mean, tarot reading is your full-time job, no? Yeah,
Yes, yeah,
except the
yeah,
full-time being mom, you have a full-time tarot reading job as well. Okay, so
yeah.
how do you balance it? I mean, it's like sometimes it can be no challenging. I know that the son and the husband and the tarot and everything.
Definitely, yeah, yeah. So I did have a normal job previously, and I started tarot while I was on maternity leave with my son because we looked at me going back to work full time, and it was very expensive. So I was like, no way, I'm not paying that. So I decided to stay at home and take what was a hobby and try and make it into an income. So yeah, that is what I do now. And as far as balancing it, it does have its challenges, definitely. But think I think and I feel that I am so privileged to be able to, one, work for myself, two, work the hours that are convenient for me as well. So a lot of my tarot reading takes place online. I do a lot of online readings, but I also do in-person readings, but I work those around my son and my childcare. So I'll do a few days a week locally in my local town where I'll do face-to-face readings. And then on evenings, I'll go to parties or events or people's houses and do tarot readings there after he's gone to bed. So it's a lot. I don't get a lot of evenings off, but I really enjoy it. And, if I didn't enjoy it, then I wouldn't do it. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but you are saying that so you are making in person and also the online. So, how do you compare them? I mean, like, which is better, or what are the pros and cons and everything for you
Yeah.
at least? I mean,
So, if I'm honest, if I'm personally, honest, frank, I do enjoy connecting with people in real time. So, whether that's online or whether it is in person, there's not much of a difference. Obviously, it's not quite the same when it's online, but technology is fantastic these days, and the fact that it allows me to meet people, read for people who literally live on the other side of the world, just blows my mind. Absolutely blows my mind. I mean, I'm a bit sad and I keep a tracker of all the countries that I've read for. So I have literally all over the world. I think the only continent I've not read for yet is South America. So anybody in South America who wants a reading, please let me know. But I've done yeah, New Zealand, Australia, Japan, India, Canada, Mexico, all throughout Europe. I've done South Africa, Egypt. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. But the nice thing about the in-person readings, like the local readings, is it's local support, and it's I'm so grateful for everybody who supports me wherever they are in the world. But it's really nice to have kind of in-person kind of physical friendships as well. Like to have both is just amazing. I love it.
That's true. But do you do any like email readings, or you just do everything like
I do,
live?
I do voice recorded is what I do.
Okay.
Typed up email readings, I personally find them quite time consuming just because of the limited amount of time I have, obviously around my son and everything else. I honestly don't have the time or the resources to do it, even though it's something I would really enjoy because I do enjoy to write. That is one thing that I do outside of tarot. But I generally keep that as writing for pleasure rather than doing tarot reading write-ups. But I know a lot of talented readers who do that. But I think either way, whether it's written or whether it's voice recorded or whether it's video, however, it's nice to have something that you can go back to. That's another benefit of the online tarot reading because sometimes, I mean, I've done it before where I've had a reading and at the time I've thought, oh, this is great, fantastic, brilliant. And then I walk out the door and I completely forget everything. So to come back to it or have a way to come back to it, whether that's written or recorded or however, is really good. Yeah, I like that.
So what are you writing about? You just said that you are writing. What if it's like something that you can share? I mean,
Yeah, no, it's not a project or anything as such. I just write whatever comes to me. So I do quite like poetry. I write a lot of poetry. I also journal a lot. I think a lot of tarot readers journal a lot. And that kind of is more about my musings, my personal thoughts, my personal feelings, and things like that. But it's funny because somebody said to me the other week, they said, "Oh, you should write a book," and I was like, I don't know what I would write a book about. Like, I really don't. But they were encouraging me to do like some sort of fiction, so maybe that's next in the pipeline. Who knows? Who knows?
but it can be also, I mean, like that maybe sometimes you write a poem and it can be related with the cards, and then you can make a combination of tarot and the poet, and they can
Yeah,
come together. Maybe it can be really
absolutely.
nice.
Yeah, I've written a few poems actually inspired by tarot cards. I use them for inspiration. So I use them sometimes as like a writing prompt. I know a lot of people who do that. Like I have a very good friend called Sylvie. She's on Instagram and she actually runs an account called Write Away Tarot. And all of her offerings are based around, authors, people who write, which is so fascinating. So I kind of was inspired by her. And I have written quite a few poems actually based on the tarot cards, but I shared a few publicly. I haven't shared them all. Because I don't know what my plans are with them. Like you said, it might be nice to put them together as a book and release them all together. That's something I could do.
Yeah, so about the tarot, like for example, how do you approach the tarot? Like, because I mean, like the cards have meanings, as we
Yeah.
know, like in
Mhm.
a like this, and there is this intuition and everything. But how do you combine, or do you think that there should be like a dominance in one side, or what is your type of tarot reading?
Well, for each individual person, I think tarot is so personal, like really, really personal. I think obviously there is the traditional meanings, and that's a fantastic place to start from. That's a fantastic place, to to come from. But that it's so personal. I mean, there's so many cards in the deck which I connect personally to specific events in my life, because I've pulled them and then something has happened and then that card has forever changed in meaning for me. It's always meant something to do with that. You know, um, but as far as coming at it from a kind of an intuition and a traditional sense, I do definitely mix the two. And I think that that's the right way to be because I feel that the traditional meanings, a lot of people find them quite constricting, quite stifling, and also a little bit intimidating because it's almost as if you're being tested on the knowledge. So it's like the Ace of Swords comes out. The Ace of Swords means this and only this, and if you get it wrong, you're a bad tarot reader. So I just think, you know bear those in mind, bear those traditional meanings in mind, but then on the other hand, if it feels right, throw it out the window and, use your intuition, use your own personal interpretations. That's how I do it anyway. But I don't play by the rules. I do what I want.
But does it happen sometimes that then, like coming back to the meanings, and someone comes? It sometimes happens because someone knows sees tower, and then you start saying something nice about it, or it's like, I thought that this means like this, blah blah, etc. So where did
Yeah.
you see this? Do you, I mean, like meet people, or how do you tackle the moment in a way?
So, I mean, one thing I will say, like you mentioned the tower as an example, I'm a big advocate of the phrase "no bad cards." Okay, no bad cards. Every card has a purpose. Every card is important. And I think all of them should be kind of, the meaning should be taken and the message should be taken and it should be respected, definitely. But whenever anybody approaches me and says, oh, I thought that meant this, or I thought that meant that, I always say to them, it is a spectrum. There are so many meanings, and it depends on so many things. It depends on the question. It depends on, the lay of the cards, the order of the cards, things like that. There's so many outcomes. It's not a simple black and white kind of process. It's grey. It's very grey.
But for example, do you have any also preference like about the number of the cards and everything, that when you look, I mean, do you have this thing like sometimes because one card
Hmm.
may mean so many things, like it's
Hmm.
like you just pull and then draw it, and it's like you can maybe talk about it half an hour, but sometimes the people think that like, only one card, that I'm coming like here for half an
Mm.
hour eating, how come? Etc.
Yeah.
So how is your approach, about that?
I just kind of, to be honest, the messages they vary in length. So sometimes I, will pull three cards and I'm able to talk for, 20 minutes. Sometimes I'll pull five cards and I can only, string together 10 minutes. It's kind of whatever, to be honest, it's whatever kind of comes to mind for me. It's whatever I feel is relevant, whatever kind of pull I get. I think again, that is something that needs to be kind of honed. It's something that you learn as time goes on, because it's very easy to kind of pull a card and explain every single meaning, to try and hit something, to try and cover, you know, everything just in case it resonates. But I feel like sometimes you really do just have to trust your gut and just think, no, do you know what? I think that this card means this today, and
Yeah.
kind of trust yourself. And, we don't always get it right, we're not perfect. Sometimes we get it wrong. But I think that, to trust yourself is one of the hardest things to start to do when you're reading tarot, definitely, because there are so many resources out there, so many books, so many people who tell you what the cards mean and tell you how you should read tarot, but really the choice is completely yours.
Yeah, I think that there shouldn't be any kind of boxes, no? It's like, yeah, because sometimes I read or hear like, that you have to be reading tarot this many years, or this
Yeah,
way,
yeah,
etc. That doesn't exist, because every person is different, every reader is
absolutely.
different, everyone has their different intuition, and then their approach is different. So I think you cannot, I think in this kind of divination methods, you cannot box anyone in a certain type of thinking. I don't know if you
Yeah.
agree with that.
Oh no, I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. I think, like I've said, it's such a wide and varied practice. And I, for one, am not arrogant enough to think that I know best, like
Yeah.
my practice is just my practice. And same with everybody else. Everyone else's practice is just their practice. And if you identify with that, you can resonate with that and you can learn from that. That's amazing. But on the other hand, if you don't resonate and you want to go a different path, that's fine too. There's space for it all. I truly believe that. Space for everybody.
Yeah, that also I think in person readings, sometimes happen that someone comes, it's like there is no whatsoever or something like, oh,
Mhm.
what's going to
There's
happen?
there's been a few surprises along the way. I will say that. Some of them pleasant, some of them not. But that is part of the charm of in-person readings. I mean, I'm fortunate enough. Well, I say I'm fortunate enough. The world is filled with lovely people. And, 99.9% of people I meet are absolutely lovely. And I've done readings before where I've been talking and people have said to my face, that's incorrect. That's wrong. You're talking a load of rubbish. And I've wished them well on their way. And I've said, okay, that's fine. Just bear the message in mind. It might mean something at a later date. Okay. And then they've gone away. And some of them I've never heard from again, but quite a few of them have actually come back to me. And I've had a few apologies. I've had a few bunches of flowers from people
Okay.
to
Okay.
say,
That's good.
actually, I'm really sorry. What you said did actually resonate eventually, a couple of weeks later, a month later, whatever, it made sense. So I'm coming back to say, I'm sorry that I doubted you. And that means a lot. That means a lot. But yeah, the element of the unknown is definitely something that I feel a lot of people are scared of when it comes to face-to-face readings. A lot of people don't like being put on the spot, um, which I can appreciate because it is scary. It is scary, but it's also thrilling. Like I'm a bit of a thrill seeker, you see. I like the idea of, like I said, I don't know what's coming. I don't know what question's going to be asked. I don't know who's going to be sat in front of me. It's just whoever walks through the door on that day. And I love that. But other people are terrified by that. So again, it takes all sorts.
Yeah, that's true. So I will ask, like, the favorite tarot decks. Do you have any favorite? Like you say that, oh, that they should be with me all the time, or I just walk around in my bag with this thing, or you just like, today I feel like this, I am going with that.
Yeah, well, my Libra moon is like worried right now because it's like choosing a favorite child, you know?
Yeah.
I'm thinking, oh gosh, there's so many. I mean, there are so many beautiful tarot decks. Some of my personal favorites, I actually really like the zombie tarot,
Okay.
um, which is it's like a retro 50s style kind of collage style. Obviously all about zombies, it's the zombie apocalypse. And I love that one because I find that the messages are about as brutal as the deck itself. The imagery on the deck, it's really straight shooting, straight to the point. So I really, really enjoy that one. I also really enjoy just the traditional, Rider Waite Smith, because that was my first ever deck. It's ancient now and tattered and it's in very bad shape. But I think I get my best readings with that. I do. And I think that's just because we've built up a connection over such a long time. And then the deck that's on my wish list actually is the Spectro World Tarot. I believe I think his name is Ben Simons. He's on Instagram, and it's a psychedelic, like multicolored, like trippy tarot. So that's on my wish list. That's one that I really want. But yeah, my two favorite decks, I probably would say the Zombie Tarot and the Rider Waite Smith. Yeah.
Yeah. So how often do you buy decks? It's like, do you like it? It's like, all the time.
Oh, I don't
No,
know if
I
I want to
shouldn't
say.
buy
My
it.
husband might see this. No, I honestly buy decks whenever I feel called to. Yeah. So sometimes there'll be, months that go by and I don't see one that takes my fancy. And then other months there'll be a month where I see three and I'm like, okay, well, it's a three tarot deck kind of month then. I guess I'm getting three decks this month. But I do try to be responsible in what I'm buying. Because it's very, very easy to kind of get caught up in the consumerism side. It's like I feel like some of the mass market printers, like they know that we love a nice deck, and they can play that to their strengths and they know that we'll buy them. So I do try to be sensible and try not to indulge too much, but I am only human. So when I see a nice deck, I have to have it.
Yeah, because sometimes it's just like you just like the cover, you just like see a like glimpse of some of the cards, and you are like, that has to be mine. And then
Yeah.
sometimes they come, and then they can really say that that's true, or they can sometimes disappoint you as well. But that's it.
Yeah,
That's what it is. I mean, yeah.
yeah, definitely, definitely. I mean, I think you never really know until you have it in your hands, do you? That's another thing with tarot
No,
decks.
no.
You can look at the pictures online and think, oh, that's beautiful. And then on the flip side, I've seen some decks online and thought, it's only okay. And then it's turned up and it's been one of my favorites, you know. It's one that I've cracked open and thought this is fantastic. So yeah, I think it's one of those things where you don't really know, especially when you're buying online and you can't pick it up in a shop and look at it, you know, you don't really know until you have it in your hands what the connection is going to be like or how you're going to feel.
Yeah, because I think even in a shop you see, I mean, before you start shuffle or like going
Hmm.
through the cards one by one, it's still like I think the connection is not still there. It's a really interesting phenomena according to me,
Hmm.
like how you connect with the deck, etc. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really interesting. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah. What about the boundaries? Boundaries in the sense with the clients that are coming and everything. In every sense, I mean, like how do you build that?
So I am quite firm in my boundaries. You know, there's certain things that I won't read on. And what I generally tend to do is I set that out kind of even before somebody has booked a reading or even before they've paid for a reading. Okay. So I want to make it clear to them, you know, the things that I will and I will not do. I also have a little speech, kind of like, you know, when you get on an aeroplane and the air hostess is saying, you know, the exits are here, 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 and here.
Yeah.
I have that when I start a reading as well. And to kind of briefly summarize it, I just cover a few things. So I'll say, first and foremost, you know, if you need professional advice, such as, you know, doctor, lawyer, you know, financial advisor, whatever, please seek it out. And I also emphasize free will as well. I also emphasize that, you know, your life is your own. And this is guidance. This is the universe's guidance. This is my guidance. You don't have to listen to it. You are free to do what you want. Because I feel like you know, we have to have boundaries as well with our clients. You know, we are not all seeing, all knowing. You know, I like I said earlier, I'm not arrogant enough to think I know what's best. I'm not. I'm just here to help. And if I can help, that's fantastic. But on the flip side, if you don't want to take my advice or the universe advice, then that's fine too. Definitely. You know, we have our boundaries and our clients should have theirs as well.
Yeah, it's exactly. I mean, in the end, nothing is set in stone,
Hmm.
and people, it's like you are giving sometimes options. You would like
Yeah,
to decision is on in your hands. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it's like you
absolutely.
just want to take that option or not. Yeah, that's it's like in a
Hmm.
way, I think it's your hands are clean, but that's the way it should be. I mean, like the guidance is here. You do whatever you want with that one. I mean, so it's like in
Mm,
a way, it's getting the responsibility out of you, but it's like this is what I see. Eh,
absolutely. I mean, I think as well, you know, it's just it's a thinking point almost. I see tarot sometimes as a jumping off point, you know, as a start. So sometimes people will come to me and say, you know, what how can I be more creative? Or, you know, what kind of job should I get into, kind of thing. And in that way, like you said, it's a suggestion, it's some ideas to kind of throw out there. And if it resonates with them and they think it's, you know, useful, something they want to pursue, then great. But then again, if not, you know, like you said, my hands are clean. But it's not because I don't believe in it. I wholeheartedly do. It's more because I actually believe in them to make the right choice.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, that's really important. I think it's in any case, in every kind of divination. I mean, like you just leave the agency with the people. It's the most important part. So I think that probably if you are doing that, you are doing it in the best way possible.
Mhm.
And what about, I just wonder, like, is there a ritual that you get ready for a tarot reading? That you do something specific, or you are just like you just sit and then like open the cards and that's it?
Mm. So if I have time, so for example, if I'm doing like a live reading or a recorded reading at home, I do like to meditate for a while. I
Okay.
do like to
Yeah.
sit and quiet my mind for at least 10 minutes and generally just kind of focus on the question, focus on the person's energy, and then do the reading that way. Obviously, when I'm out and about in public, I can't really sit and meditate for 10 minutes in between readings. So I'll meditate in the morning before I go. I will do that. And then in between readings, I do cleanse just a few kind of standard age-old practices. I will knock the deck to knock the other querent out of it. And I take crystals with me as well. So I will use that to kind of cleanse the deck to get it all, nice and shiny and new, ready for the next person. But no, as far as my kind of rituals go, I do keep it quite simple. I am a simple soul. So yeah, I don't overcomplicate it. I'm not, running around doing anything too crazy before a tarot reading.
Okay. What are your favorite crystals then that you carry with you for the decks?
I mean, for personal reasons, my favorite crystal is actually opal. That's
Okay,
my
wow,
favorite.
that's nice. That's nice, yeah.
Yeah, that is my favorite. Purely to be honest, that one's purely for aesthetic reasons. I think it is absolutely beautiful. It's my absolute favorite. It's on my engagement ring. I love it. And then for crystals to carry around, I generally carry around a mixture. So obviously I'll take the usual, selenite and quartz and things for the cleansing. But then I also like a little bit of tiger's eye. I think tiger's eye is very underrated. I like
Yeah,
that.
that's yeah. I think this is one, no? This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Very, very
hanging
underrated.
over the computer. Yeah.
Yeah, it's underrated. It's a really nice, like grounding stone. It gives courage, gives confidence. It's associated with Leo as well. So obviously Leo rising, like we love it. So yeah, I really like Tiger's Eye. I also really like aventurine as well, green aventurine.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's really lovely too. And then just, I promise I'm not saying this because it's you, but it is one of my favorites, amethyst. Love amethyst.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah.
So there's always those three at least in my pocket when I go for a tarot reading.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, it's nice. I think I think you don't know some of the I think crystals is like just the way that they look is nice and
Mm,
it already like calms you down or gives you some kind of energy. It's nice just
absolutely.
just to be with them and everything like that. I think it's really nice also.
Yeah.
I mean, also I think it has a little bit ambience creation, no? That when you have
Yeah.
a crystals, etc., with the tarot, and then it's nice for the clients to see that as well.
Yeah,
One more
absolutely.
question that, yeah, one more question that I have this, like, for example, of course, sometimes there can be very deep readings as well.
Hmm.
Like it's like also heavy on your soul as much as heavy on the other side. I mean,
Yeah.
it can happen, of course. And how do
Hmm.
you get yourself out of that after the
Uh,
reading?
my favorite thing to do, honestly, is to just have a really hot bath. And I literally cleanse my body, cleanse my soul, let the steam take it all away. There's something for me that works of the idea of actually literally washing away like the energy. Like that's something that really, really helps me. And to be honest, the crystals and stuff help as well. Like I said, with the tiger's eye, um, God, my mind's gone blank now. But other grounding crystals, I generally do, like I said, keep them with me. So thankfully, that type of feeling for me is few and far between. It is few and far between. But yes, I normally, if it's an in-person reading, for example, that's quite heavy, I may walk the long way home, touch some nature, get some fresh air. And then when I get home, yeah, straight in the bath.
I was just going to ask something. I had it in my mind. I was going to ask. Oh, that's the block that I got now because I
Oh,
was going to ask something important about the reading as well. Well, okay, so it's like you are saying the but is the
mhm.
or being in
Yeah,
connection with the nature and everything. Yeah, it can be the
yeah.
best to get rid of things like that. That yeah, that is something. For example, you make a reading. I don't know how much you think about what you make, the readings that you make, because it
Hmm.
happens with me. I'm an overthinker Virgo, so it's like it continues. The mind continues with me all the way. But does
Yeah.
it happen like, I mean, like maybe I could have said like this, or maybe I should have added like this,
Oh,
or
you mean like after a
maybe
reading?
after
Mm.
the reading. Yeah.
Right. Yes. Yes. So, um, to be honest, that doesn't happen to me often. It does happen sometimes, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't happen to me often. And I always kind of, whether it's delusional or me like, putting my blinkers on or whatever, but I often think to myself, if it didn't come to me at the moment, then it wasn't supposed to be said, you know? And like I said, I don't know if that's me kind of making myself feel better for missing stuff out. I'm not sure. But I do, yeah, I do generally, I try to go easy on myself. I try to go easy on myself and think, you know, like I said, maybe I'm going to miss things sometimes. Maybe I'm not going to be perfect. But I do think that the important stuff surely would have been communicated in the reading. That's how I make myself feel okay about it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I think I cannot do that. It's like, for me, it's like my mind is like a computer working, waking up in the
Oh.
middle of the night. Do you see those memes sometimes, like someone waking in the middle of the, maybe I should have said that. I should have written that, etc. It's like, but it's good that
Oh no.
you are not on that side. I mean, you are right. I mean, it's like it was meant to be said. It would have
Hmm.
been said. If it
Hmm.
wasn't said, then it wasn't meant to be said. Yeah, I think it's a very good uh idea, and it's a very good way of
Yeah.
approaching it. Yeah, wonderful.
I
I
think
like it.
I think it's part of the boundaries as well, you know, like you were saying,
Yeah,
like you need to know when to leave a reading behind, you know.
yeah, that's true.
I think it's like anything anything that we do in life, after we've done it, we can always pick it apart and say, I could have done this better, I could have done this differently, and everything else. But you know, the fact of the matter is it is done, it is over, it is finished. So, you know, I like to reflect, obviously, because I want to learn. I like to get feedback as well from people because again, I want to learn, I want to improve. But I have to make a concerted effort to not, like I said, pick myself apart and criticize myself. You know, I think you know it was what it was, and I said what I felt needed to be said at the time. So that's good enough for me.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. We cannot like make our minds busy with the what ifs. If
Hmm.
what ifs, yeah, that's
Absolutely.
really true. So, I mean, reading. Do you? I mean, read any books, or do you? What do you do to improve? It's. I think, of course, practice is the really essence.
Hmm.
As much as you practice, you get more, I mean, improved, and you become a
Yeah.
better version of yourself in tarot reading, in everything. But do you do anything else to I mean, like, get more knowledge or information or anything?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, books, there's so many good ones out there, so many good tarot books. I could recommend about 35. Also, the internet is a wonderful resource as well, like
Yeah.
fantastic resource. I mean, I started getting into tarot. It'll be 21 years ago now, long
Wow.
time. But you know, the internet then was kind of in its infancy, and it's developed a lot since then. And it's almost like tarot is so accessible now. You know, just a quick Google, and it's all there. So I do a mixture. There's nothing quite like having a nice book in your hands, is there, and just reading the book. There's nothing quite like that. But I do a lot of digging on the internet. I spend a lot of time as well actually talking to other readers to get their
Yeah.
opinions. So forums, you know, things like that. Like I go on Reddit quite a lot, and there's
Hmm.
kind of like tarot communities on Reddit. So if there's something that I'm kind of thinking about or a question that I've got, I do sometimes ping it out on there. And some of the conversations that we've had, some of the resources that those people have pointed me to, you know, some of the points that they've made have been fantastic, absolutely brilliant. So yeah, I'm always, if I'm not reading tarot or looking after my son, I'm generally reading about tarot and researching it. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, perfect. And so I think, yeah, that's the way. I mean, that's why I think you also collaborate a lot, and I like the way that, like, because sometimes I think, especially in social media, the people think that if I like promote someone else or do something like
Yeah.
this, it's like, oh, it will take me down. Though we are all
Oh,
different individuals, everyone has their different way of making things, so it's not. But I know that you are like amazing with that, like you just write names, etc. This is go follow and do this, support, and
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah, yeah.
I think, you know, community over competition every single day of the week. I I have no problem promoting readers or anybody actually for that matter who I feel is fantastic. You know, I think they deserve it. Absolutely. And I think it's kind of it's a way of putting out good energy, you know, into the universe. You know, I feel like if you're good to other people, they will be good to you. You know, so it's like whatever you put out, you will get back eventually. I truly help that. I truly believe that. Sorry. So that is why I help anyone else, give anyone else a shout out whenever I can. And the whole point, especially of social media, which I feel like some people forget, is to be social, you know, to
Yeah.
actually connect with people, you know, to actually talk to people and support people. Because I mean, I've had instances before where, you know, people will say, you know, oh, I've seen you on Instagram, you know, like a fellow reader, like, oh, I've seen you on Instagram. Oh, but I didn't like any of your posts though. I'm like, well, why? And they were like, oh, but well, because I didn't want to mess up my algorithm, you know, I didn't want to have you showing up or anything. And I'm thinking, that's such a strange thing to say.
Exactly.
It's, it's almost like they're admiring me or they're admiring what I do, but they don't want to actually help. And I'm thinking, I don't understand that way of thinking. I really don't get it. So I'm always, you know, commenting, dropping like, sharing, whatever, as much as I can, really, to be honest.
Which is beautiful, I think. What
Thank
about
you.
the last question that I will ask is like, do you ever see yourself uh, like teaching or mentoring in tarot or making workshops or anything like that?
Yeah. Do you know, I've been approached so many times about this, by individual people, by businesses saying, would you like to come in and teach tarot? And I, I'm a bit conflicted because it is something I would love to do, like spreading, you know, knowledge about tarot is something that I absolutely love. But then I also think, how I read tarot, how I do everything is unique, just like everyone else's. And I'm almost a little bit reserved about teaching people to read the same way I read, not because I want to keep it to myself, but because I want them to learn their way, you know?
Yeah.
And I understand that people need a starting point, you know, so I have considered maybe doing a very basic course on, you know, the meaning of the cards, like individual cards, standard meanings. But to be honest, I look at the market and there's already so many out there, so many tarot readers out there. So I might think about doing like a little one-to-one, something like that, like a one-to-one mentorship. Like I've had a couple of people approach me and say, you know, I don't know why, but they've said, you know, teach me your ways, Gemma, you know, share them with me. So maybe I can put something together and do a little one-to-one. I don't know. I don't know. But it's something, yeah, I've thought about it, but there's something holding me back. And I think it is just because I want everybody to learn tarot in their own way and read in their own way. And yeah, I think that's it. I just want everybody to be individual. I don't want them to copy me and think that I'm right and all knowing because I'm not. I've said that several times. I'm not.
But I think sometimes the people need a bit of push. I mean, I can tell from myself because with the children, I mean, I cannot be ever structured. I mean, I'm not structured anymore. I'm like messy like this. So
Yeah.
I got mentored by someone when I started reading tarot and etc.
Okay.
I think one-to-one mentoring, etc., really can be a
Hmm.
nice push. And it's like, that, yeah, you just give the first steps, you just push it a bit, and in the end,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
find their way. So in that sense, I think, I mean, for you, maybe you should really consider that in the future if you feel so, because it's like, it's really some
Hmm.
people, I mean, from experience, I can say that they need that help. I mean, just to get on
Yeah.
their feet and then like later find their way. They find their way at the end of the day.
Yeah, like a little baby bird in the nest, you know, you have to look after
Yeah,
them for the first bit and then when they're
yeah,
ready to fly, they can fly. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. I think if I ever did teach, like you said with your experience, I would give the foundations, I would give the building blocks, and then
yeah.
I would say, but you build the tower. Like you put it all together and do whatever you want to do.
Now,
Because
time to fly. Go.
exactly,
Use
exactly.
your wings.
See you later. No, I think
Uh,
that's the best way to do it, definitely. Definitely. Because you don't want to be a carbon copy of everyone else, you know, you want to be your own individual person. So yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful. Yeah, thank you very much, Gemma. I think I will, yeah, it was a lovely talk and it was lovely
Mm.
to hear about you more, to learn about you more. And I think that I'm sure that the people would love to hear or listen to this or watch this, and then we'll learn more about who is Gemma behind Mystic Gem Tarot.
Behind the
It was
Instagram.
it was absolute pleasure for me, and
Oh,
I'm really happy to have met you in person, even via Zoom. But it was really nice for me to talk to you and to hear about your views and
mm.
approach and perspective and everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you very
Well,
much.
thank you so much for having me. Honestly, it's been my absolute pleasure. Like I love your work. I love what you do. I love your account. So to be asked to come on and chat to you is so lovely. Thank you so much.
Okay, now I will finish the recording. Have a lovely day, everyone. I will stop the recording.